What word drifts through your head when you see places like these? Some people see low polygon hallways and dated renders, a kind of crude scaffolding for something that modern hardware could probably clean up. Others get an emotional jolt, a distant tug, a feeling that the space pulls at a part of you that usually stays quiet. It resembles a memory that probably never existed. It echoes something from a dream or some other place that exists in your mind, invented in the background of sleep. See, my dreams, they show up with vivid detail, from the mundane stuff like working a long day at the office.
Oh, dude, bro.
Waking up feeling like I just put in 8 hours, or these strange worlds that don't feel solid. So back to the topic. These spaces, they spark a very specific reaction. And most of the words that we reach for barely even begin to cover it. The loudest one that we hear now, the most popular term that is often misused, is liminal. Content creators use it for anything that looks empty, uncanny, nostalgic, uneasy, in the same way that other words drift around until they lose their shape. It's slipped into the world of labels, and sadly, the word liminal has lost its original meaning. The word became, and I hate to use this word, an aesthetic, which is also a word, funnily enough, that was hijacked by the internet to the point that I avoid using it without specifying that aesthetic is not an
standalone descriptor.
So it became a trend. Liminal.
Liminality.
Something that looks good on a thumbnail, something you want to click. That whole wave has kind of had its run, but since it's a popular term to use and everyone knows what we're trying to get at with it, that feeling underneath it, it hasn't really faded, even though it's probably nearing the end of its popularity. That feeling underneath lasts because the places themselves ask for attention.
No.
Actually, they beg for it. These places sit between states and they hang in that suspended quiet where you sense something once moved through, but it doesn't anymore. For example, Ridge Racer 4's City is a great example of that kind of transitional zone. It's a place that you rush through at high speed, drift around those corners, and the moment you slow down, the emptiness of the environment hits you like a freight train. You feel something missing, even though nothing was ever placed there to begin with. So, Digital Devil Saga and Nocturne, they take this feeling to another level. Their spaces carry abandonment like a second atmosphere. And not only do they look empty, but somehow they just feel emptied of whatever was there before, which is perfectly fitting considering the themes. They show a world that's paused between moments, and those moments are the reason I fell in love with Shin Megami Tensei. Again, I was in love with it before I took a break, discovered these games, and I got sucked right back in again. And it still feels strange that these 3 games technically haven't been... Nocturne was re-released with a remaster. They did a shit job of it. So, they deserve another look. And when that day comes, they need to be handled with reverence and care, because those games are important. They need a new audience. Some people connected with these worlds and they visited these worlds for the story, or the press turn system, the darkness, the demon designs. And Kazuma Kaneko is a god-tier designer. I love those things as well, but for me, it's always down to the atmosphere. I'm not gonna break down every room or corridor in these games, just a sampling of them. The introduction mostly. I wanna walk through a few of these areas enough to share the same pull that they give me, even to this day. In Nocturne, you start the game with your friends before things happen, you get to the hospital. The cool corridors and wide hallways, all very modular and void in their feeling. They wind as the sun slips through the windows of the lobby, bathing the floor and waiting area in a shapely window image that drapes over the cool blues where you later fight Fornius. The color palette of the hospital makes me feel, or makes me experience, some kind of reminiscence of the Gen X Soft Club visual design. Not to a T, but there's elements there. The blues and the colors and the blur. It glows and it blurs with motion, and yet it has a sense of still motion. Does that make sense? And the music pairs so well with these environments that it feels simply natural in its setting and believable. Like it's always been a pair. Coupled since the day it was conceived. Shoji Meguro is a master of matching environment and sound to create something that's cohesive, something that works together. Upon exiting the building to enter the rooftop, you meet with one of the characters. Let's call her Yuko Takao. She speaks of the conception on the roof of the building, the end of the world, or the transformation of this current plane of existence into something different. I won't go too deep into story beats at all, but this particular point, I always felt and found it odd that the feel of the world before the conception always felt the same as it did after the conception occurs. Only the structure of the world and behavior and the beings changed. Demons now spread across the land, and you become a demi-fiend. This rooftop visually has always struck a chord with me. The moment I saw it for the first time, it felt like somewhere I had been before or wanted to go. It was quiet and still, lonely and peaceful, but ominous still. How so much was achieved and communicated with a simple rooftop, low texture counts, some small amounts of polygons, it escapes me. The buildings in the background, they just stand in the distance silently. The air feels cold to look at, the colors are muted. Now at this point, I had never been to Japan before. This January will be the 9th trip, but this scene felt so different from Canada's boring landscapes. And I don't use that lightly, I'm bored here. But I loved the way the exterior stairs, fire escapes cast their shadows and the windows are black on a contrast of light-colored buildings. It's also very orderly and specific, which adds to the sense of calm to the scene. And that's the strange part. The world ends here, or maybe more accurately, kind of folds in on itself. The feeling barely flinches, the rooftop stays quiet. The air remains still. The space holds steady. Only the rules of the world has shifted. That calm doesn't strangely just vanish when the end arrives. It sinks deeper oppressively, like the world is finding kind of a new footing rather than collapsing. The world changes, but again, the calm stands firm. So then you leave the space to explore the hospital with the same calm, only more cautiously than before, surrounded by spirits and demons. You find yourself eventually in a mall in Ginza, submitting yourself to the same sense of discomfort and unease. It feels like a place you shouldn't be. I can only relate it to when, as a child, I maybe wandered away from a parent in a new store that we were visiting at the mall. You're lost, hopeless. The ceilings feel taller. The walls feel far away, and you need to find your way back to safety. This is the feeling that I can kind of compare this mall to from a personal experience as a child. Endless hallways, danger, wide cavernous walkways. This emotion reaches greater heights in the Amala labyrinth later on, but for now, eventually finding your way back to Nyx's lounge. All of a sudden, you see a gathering of demons in this lounge, casually talking, not particularly hostile, but on the edge of humanity, but still the edge of unfamiliarity. Where the rooftop you were on before watches the end from above, Nyx's lounge is immersed in it. Ginza still exists as this transitional point, awkward and half-developed as a place that was once filled with life to dark, old, muted, and constricting in its atmosphere. Yet, Nyx's lounge, for all its quiet, feels like a pause, where all the demons gathered and decided to enjoy the silence for a while and pause. So this brings me to Digital Devil Saga. Now, I have poured my love so many times into this game series, and I'll continue to do so. For one reason, it's the atmosphere. So in life, if the goal is sometimes to try and find the time to be alone and not lonely, then Digital Devil Saga, it takes that loneliness and it forces it upon you. Even though you have a party with you at all times, you're alone, kind of hopeless. As a guy who lives alone and enjoys the company of myself, sometimes, yeah, I get lonely. Sometimes I feel down. And yet, I still play this game. I crave this emptiness, this nihilism from time to time. So when you begin the game, you're implored to
rend, slaughter, devour your enemies.
You are a warrior in purgatory, destined to fight the other tribes endlessly. It's raining, the weather is miserable. It's dark, cold, hopeless. So few games have used their simplicity in design in such a depressing manner. But why do I keep coming back to this? Your party members speak with this quiet, serious, focused tone.
The ramifications of the battle are unclear. What are these markings?
Argila struggles with the reality she is faced with, devouring your enemies.
I can't eat them.
Heat only cares to move forward at any cost, and Gale, he's logical. Cielo, well, Cielo is Cielo for all of his quirks. Maybe they chose that accent to bring levity to a game that is so depressing. The conversations between these characters is always amidst a silent or ambient backdrop. The absence of music and only the hum of the environment elevates the mood and draws me in to want to hear each sentence uttered by the cast. Even though the voice acting may be questionable at times,
Hey, what you laughing at?
it is one of the few Japanese games I play and use the English dubs for. The delivery, even Cielo's, feels cinematic and hopeless amidst that emptiness of sound. You are, if you allow yourself to be, tightly wrapped in this restrictive, oppressive, eerie blanket that won't let you go. It's reminiscent of something that doesn't exist. And speaking of liminality, every environment you visit feels as though it existed before with life and no longer does. The Embryon home base only consists of 2 exterior scenes, which by themselves would be fairly unremarkable. It's the soundtrack that brings the atmosphere somewhere else. It's the environment that appears that it should be more crowded than it is, and it's forgotten. The lounge-esque music feels familiar. Its melodies were above and beyond other OSTs I had heard to that point, which only added to my unease. It fit the rain. It merged with the dark tone of the world. It felt out of place. But somehow, even though it felt out of place, it was still perfectly fitting. It actually felt like a melodic flex, if you ask me. But this melodic and visual journey continues beyond the Embryon base into Svadhisthana and beyond. Every scene, location, and dialogue, each exploration manages to press into you with the colors of the environments, the emptiness of the world that you're surrounded in. This may have been, in retrospect, a requirement for the hardware, but it became a feature to me. The ability to use the limitations of the hardware, or maybe budget, to full effect by leaning into it, fed into the mastery of using the environmental emptiness as a character in a way that I really hadn't seen before or really realized previously. And so now, 20 years later, I'm here, extolling the virtues of simple design, merging with storytelling that kept me returning to feel those dreamlike, almost real. You could almost touch it and experience and smell it and feel the rain, but impossible to experience worlds. I'm more than certain I'll continue to return for another 20 years from today. So tell me, what words keep you coming back for any emotion at all? It does not have to be oppressive. It can be happy. It can be sad. It doesn't have to be dark. What environment speaks to you beyond words and more to your soul, your memory, your dreams, beyond the sounds? Leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts. And remember, this wasn't a thesis, just a journey, and I'm hoping that you stayed for the ride. And before I go, come hang out on the Discord. Stage of Time, Retro Adam, and Tyler Belmont. Everyone's in there talking games, animated 90s, 2000s nostalgia, food, music, whatever thread people feel like pulling that day, it's there. And it's a growing little spot, and you're welcome anytime. Link is below. So until next time, friends, keep it positive, keep it cool, and stay rad. See you next time. And I've got more stuff over here and over here.